Okie dokie. So just give me the odd thumbs up that you can hear me as I wiggle further away. Brilliant. And if at any point you need me, just unmute yourself and let me know what's going on. Yeah. Let's make a start. I'm excited. Been wanting to practice all day. Been sat at a desk as well. So grabbing your pillow, fold it up and pop it underneath your bottoms. And just get something, pillow or a block, whatever you've got to hand, just so your hips are a little bit higher than your knees. And then we're going to come into easy pose with one foot just slightly in front of the other so that we're not going to get pins and needles. If you always sit with the legs in one position, we're going to change them round today just to start to work the hips open in a slightly different way. And if you've got SPD, if your pubic bone's giving you a little bit of jip, we're going to have one leg in and one leg out, okay? And I'll give you some other modifications as we go. So we're going to start by sitting nice and comfortably, bringing the hands up and coming into the first finger mudra, so lightly touching the first finger and the thumb, that kind of OK symbol, and then putting your hands facing up on your knees. And then just roll the shoulders up, back and down a few times so we can open up across the collarbones, and then just leave them dropping all the way down away from your ears. I'm going to bring the chin down a few degrees, and if you're comfortable with the eyes closed, go ahead and shut them. And anyone that doesn't like that, you can just keep them open, kind of look through the eyelashes towards your feet. So we're just going to give ourselves a little minute here to settle and arrive for our practice. Just a chance to let go of anything that's been going on today, any rushing around you might have been doing. You've been doing loads of work or just busy. This is the time to leave all that at the door. And just have a bit of time for you and your babies as we get really comfortable in our changing bodies and also do some lovely birth prep. So just start to be aware of the ground underneath you. Start to feel your weight on the floor. And as you do that, relax your legs completely. So just relaxing the thighs, relaxing your feet, feeling into your sitting bones. And almost just imagine your weight pouring down through your body so that we feel heavier and heavier and heavier into that base. Have a sense of leaning back against an imaginary wall. And with that, feel the support from your spine, all the way up the back of the neck, into the back of the head. And just tilt the chin down a few degrees. So you've got a lovely bit of lengthening up through the scruff of the neck. And as much as we're feeling heavy downward onto the mat, we're looking for a bit of lightness up through the back of the neck, like a puppet string, drawing you up towards the ceiling. Just scan through the body and notice any sensations. See if you can just relax around the effort of sitting up tall. Softening the bellies. Start to notice if you've had a growth spurt this week. Maybe notice if your babies are awake, giving you a little nudge or a kick, or if they're asleep. And whatever you notice in the tummy, just take a moment to sit in your baby's company for a moment. Just sending them a little smile and a feeling of love. And just know that this time is for you and your baby. So we're going to take a lovely big breath in now and send that breath to the babies, to the tummy. So let the belly expand out like a big balloon. And then exhale through the mouth, a nice soft jaw. And just sigh as if you're steaming up a mirror in front of your face. And then deep breath in through the nose. Let the belly fill up And then exhale. Lovely long sigh. And again, inhale, deep breath in. Exhale. I'm looking for a kind of noisy breath. It's like a Darth Vader breath. And we get that by gently compressing the back of the throat. Really sounds like you're sighing on a mirror to give it a clean. On your exhalation. And then see if you can keep those throat muscles engaged on your inhalation. And it will sound a bit echoey in your ears, this breath. So this is just a really nice technique based on Ujjayi breathing in yoga that can help you really control the rhythm and speed of the breath, helping you lengthen the breath and bring about a sense of calm and grounding. So as I was saying before, just keeping your breaths even, so the same length inhale, the same length exhale is absolutely fine. And then anyone with anxiety or high blood pressure or a lot of stress going on, just start to focus on gently elongating the exhalation, making that out breath last as long as you can, at least longer than the inhale. And that will start to send calming signals around your nervous system, lowering the heart rate and calming you down. So we're going to keep focusing on that breath. Deep breath into the belly. And when you feel full of breath, maybe find the rib cage expanding. Maybe breathing up into the heart and the chest. And then exhaling every drop of breath out of the body. Watching that breath disappear with a feather-like quality. And then notice the little pauses at the end of the exhalation. Then the rush of inhale, another big, full, nutritious breath, energizing for your practice. And then exhaling completely. So we're going to come back to this a lot, this breath. This is our birth breathing, exactly how we want to breathe when we're having contractions. So we really have something to concentrate on, something to listen to, something to focus our mind, and essentially that breath, that oxygen is fuel. It's literally fuel to help your uterus with that big effort of contracting and making itself smaller, and at the same time dilating and opening up, and both combined literally help push your baby down and out. So if we can work with these sensations, work with the contractions by the breathing, you're going to be really standing yourself in good stead. It's a huge coping technique. So just 2 more breaths here. Make them the biggest breaths you've had all week, all the way down. Expand the belly, then maybe the ribs and the chest. Then exhale completely. Lovely long breath out. Last breath here. Inhale. Exhale. As we let that breath leave the body, just bring the hands into prayer at the heart. Bow the head down for a moment and just enjoy that sense of quietness and calm. Just feel yourself arrived for your practice. Grounded, settled. Let the mind be empty. But if thoughts pop in, don't worry, just let them go again and come back to focusing on your sensations in the body. And then just send your babies another little smile and a feeling of love. Good. Placing the hands back down on the legs. Hands facing down this time. We're going to start with the head. We're going to drop the chin into the chest and just stretch out the back of the neck. Let the head feel heavy. At the same time, think about sitting up a little bit taller so your spine's super straight, and drop your shoulders down and back away from the ears. Let the head feel a little bit heavier on your next exhalation. And then start to look from shoulder to shoulder. So the head's just doing a little semicircle. Feeling super heavy as you just lift the face up to the right and to the left. And then going for big circles, inhaling, looking all the way up to the ceiling. And then exhaling, feeling that heavy head come all the way back down so you're looking at the bump. We'll do that again. Inhale, lifting up tall. And exhale. Change direction. Inhale the other way. Exhale, heavy head. Notice if there's any funny little creaking noises or popping noises. Last breath here. Inhale. And exhale. Just going to bring the head back up so it's level, and then take your left ear and bring it to your left shoulder. So we're going to stretch out along the right side, and then bring your right arm and just tuck it in behind your back, and then take your left arm and place it on the head if you want more of a stretch. And then take a big breath in and kind of expand the shoulder away from the ear and the ear away from the shoulder. So you get an even bigger stretch, like you're pulling an elastic band. And then exhale, just let the head sink down a bit more towards your left shoulder. So it can make a massive difference where you tilt your head. So just maybe dropping the eyes and the face down a little bit, or lifting it up, and just wait until you find the Goldilocks spot where it feels just right, and take one more breath there. At the end of the exhale, gently release the head back to center, swap the arms around, and bring your right ear to the right shoulder. So we're sitting up tall. Inhale in that space between your right ear, your left ear and your left shoulder, like that elastic band's just opening up in opposite directions. And then exhale, sink the head into this lovely spaciousness. Tilting the face down or lifting it up, wherever you feel you need to go to really find that edge. Working into the depth. Take one more breath. And gently release. Little shoulder rolls, just checking in that everything feels nice in the neck. Hands under the bumps. We're going to look up towards the sky now. Closing the mouth, just stretch out the front of the throat. Breathe into the front of the throat, breathe out. Keep working and strengthening all the muscles in the front of the neck. So careful that you haven't just hung the head back. We're not hinging on the back of the neck. We're growing tall and just looking straight up to the ceiling. And take one more breath here, and then head to center. Finally, just look over your left shoulder. Take a breath in and out there. Relax the shoulders as you exhale, and then come back to center and just look over your right shoulder. Breath in and out. Great, now we're going to bring our head back to center, the hands come up onto the shoulders. Just going to do some lovely big circles with the arms. Inhaling as you roll the elbows up to the sky, exhaling as they come down behind you. We'll try and make the circles as big as we can. I'm going to do one more with the elbows working together. And then this time take your left arm up and look over your shoulder as you circle it behind you. And then the other side. So you get a very kind of different sensation, maybe down behind the shoulder blades. Inhale, lift the elbow. Exhale, drop it down behind you. Just going to do a few more. And then just a couple of loose shoulder circles here. Lovely. Moving into the spine, we're going to cat-cow our spine. So tucking the tailbone under, curling yourself up, giving your bump almost a little hug as you exhale. And then inhale, rolling the chest open, shoulders back, and lifting up through the front of the body as you inhale. Exhale, round. Inhale, open. So just start to move through each link of the spine. It can feel really nice to think about starting this movement in the pelvis, tucking the tailbone under and feeling link by link the whole spine roll into this little forward bend, and then tucking the tailbone out, feeling that work the opposite way, lifting the heart up, opening the chest at the end of your inhale. We're going to do 2 more here, nice and slowly. See if you can get into the detail of the movement and the sensation. Bone by bone, rolling down. Bone by bone, rolling up. Good, and then 1 more little circle with the shoulders. Okay, we're going to shift our focus down now into the hips. Let's swap our legs round though, because we've been here for a little while. Let's just swap the feet, maybe give them a little wiggle. Just going to do 1 more in this seated position. So hands back down, and we're going to do one of my favourites, just circling the body. So really lovely soft tummy here, ladies. And just really make this feel nice for the hips and the pelvis. There's quite a few of you that are kind of coming up towards full term, and this is a really nice one to make lots of space and to help the babies kind of engage and settle down into the pelvis. Good. If you prefer to practice with your eyes closed, do so. Draw your awareness inward. Take that deep breath in and that big sigh out. So just dropping back into birth breathing. And we're going to pause here and go the other way, just to balance out the body. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Good. So circling is amazing when we're in labour. It's like a little dance. We can find a rhythm with our movements, with our breath as we experience the contractions. But when we're in labour, you don't have to change direction. Just pick the direction that's really comfortable and just stay with that the whole way through. Great, now we're going to undo the legs. So bringing both legs out in front of you. Just going to shuffle back a little bit. We're just going to start with circling the ankles and the feet. So just getting into circulation. Really nice if you have been sat at a desk all day. And if you've got a propensity to get dizzy, or you've got really low blood pressure, maybe don't bring your arms over the head. But if you're okay here, hands up nice and high. Spread the fingers and spread the toes. Do the biggest circles you can with the wrists and the ankles. And take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. So we almost want to get to the point where it feels like we're stirring through treacle. And then we're going to flop. So big sigh, let it go, and just take a moment here. Maybe take another long sigh. And can you just melt your whole body? What can relax? So any tension that you notice anywhere, just see if you can melt it away. Observe the tingles and the sensations in the hands and the feet. Good. Now anyone that's got SPD, you're going to keep your feet where they are. And then everybody else, we're going to go just a little bit wider. I'm going to start to circle again. So that's going to be circling in our favourite direction. So then pause and circle the hands and feet the other way. Again, you can either bring the arms all the way up over the head, or if you want something a little bit different today, you can just keep them out to the sides. So a bit of coordination, a bit of concentration. Stretch away those fingers and toes as you sit up tall. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. 2 more breaths here. See if you can stir those feet and hands just a little bit faster. And then end of the next exhale, flop. Have another little relax. So tune in immediately to those sensations in the hands and the feet. What do you feel? Tingles, heat, pulsating. Just notice those sensations in and maybe even around your body. As you take a nice long sigh, just to slow the heart rate down and relax. Good. We're going to bring the left foot in to the thigh. So we're going to make a little contact here and have the right leg out nice and long and the toes going straight up towards the ceiling. So we're kicking out through the heel. We're pressing the calf down onto the floor. Going to sit up really nice and tall, and then place your right hand on the shin if you can reach. We're going to start to turn towards the left, and then inhale, bring your left arm all the way up towards the ceiling. Drop the shoulders down and just look over your shoulder. So you're going to get a bit of a deeper twist in your spine. So see if we can just keep looking over our shoulder, keep that twist in the spine. And then as you keep the twist in the spine, just start to look up past your thumbs. Now we're going to spread all the fingers and all the toes and begin to activate the pelvic floor. It's probably already slightly engaged, but we're just going to gently draw it in and up just a little bit more. We're going to just hold it there as we breathe in and breathe out. So just engaging those muscles between your legs as if you're trying not to have a wee and you're trying not to break wind all at the same time. And on your next exhale, we're going to place that hand down behind you and lift the arm that's in front of you all the way up and just slightly lean it back. Reach out with your fingers, so you shouldn't be able to see your hand. Keep breathing here into that space you're creating down the front of your body. Lovely big inhale, lift up through the chest and the rib cage. Lovely big exhale. And then gently come back to center. So really nice when we bring in the pelvic floor work, because it can help with just stabilizing the hips and the pelvis and helping with the SPD, PGP stuff. So we're going to swap the legs around and just rest your left hand on the shin, pressing the calf down, kicking out through the heel, flexing the toes back towards your knee. So this leg is super active. The other foot, toe spread as well. That's going to also engage through your core. Now turn all the way to the side. Inhale, lift up your right arm, drop both shoulders down and back, and go and look out over your right shoulder. So we're going for a really nice twist through the spine. And once you've got that on, just look up past your thumb. So we've got a real activity happening along the long muscles that run all the way down either side of the spine. You might feel this around the bra strap area or the shoulder blades or down into the waist. Keep sitting up as tall as you can and keep your hands and feet super active. It's going to start to really help you engage your pelvic floor. If you need a little bit more engagement, just give it a squeeze as you keep breathing in and out. So we've always got to keep breathing. So even though we might be holding the pelvic floor, we want to keep the breath flowing. We're going to take one more breath here, feeling stable and strong. And then drop that top arm down behind you. Turn to face your lovely long leg, and then inhale, bring that arm up and take it back. So we're trying to lean back slightly, lift up with the heart, reach the hand back, and then breathe into your rib cage. Breathe into your tummy, breathe into your waist. So we're just looking for a lovely bit of spaciousness here. Keep reaching out with your fingers and your toes. They're still staying active. I'm going to take one more breath. And gently come back to center. Well done. Now we're going to bring that leg in to join the other one and pressing down onto the hands. It's a nice easy transition into all fours. So when you're in all fours, you might want to have a pillow or a blanket underneath your knees, so you've got a little bit of support if your knees are a little bit twingy. If not, just make sure your knees are at least hip distance apart and your hands are spread as wide as you can, somewhere underneath the shoulders. If anyone gets achy wrists, you can either come onto the fists, you can come down onto the forearms, or my favourite is just take the hands a little way forward and bend the elbows. So it's taking the pressure out of the wrists, but you're still up in your lovely all fours. Now we're going to start to get into our circles. So inhaling as you roll forwards, exhaling as you roll back. And we're just circling our body over the hands and over the knees. So thinking about taking the weight into your hands one at a time, into your knees one at a time. Every time we kind of take weight through our structures, it does help build strength. So maybe think about that in the arms, if you're looking for a little bit more arm strength. Little bend with those elbows back towards your thighs. It's going to definitely help strengthen into the triceps if you roll yourself a little bit further forward. So if you're looking for that kind of work in the arms, you can find it here. If you want to make it a little bit more gentle, stay a little bit further back away from the hands, maybe leaning into the knees, and start to really circle your bottom. So lean back into your sit bones as you roll the bottom back. Really feel that spaciousness between the sitting bones and the length of your spine all the way to the head. Now, this can be a great move to help with dilating. So really lovely when we're in labour. We're going to pause here and then just change direction, just to balance out the body now. When you're in labour, you won't need to change direction, just do whatever's comfortable. And keep going with your birth breathing. So deep breath in, through the nose if you haven't got a cold, and big sigh out of the mouth, as if you're steaming up that mirror to give it a clean. Let the shoulders really feel like they're moving and grooving, getting rid of any tension. I'm going to take one more breath here. And then finding a resting position. So either just coming into a kneeling position with the knees wide and the toes touching, one hand on the heart, one hand on the bump and bowing the head, or opening the knees a little bit wider and finding your way down. So either resting your hands on the fists, on the back of the hands, or if you've got the room, you can bring the arms out in front of you and place your forehead on the floor. So whichever pose you've chosen, we're just going to change the breath here so that we're blowing out through a little hole in the lips. So you can imagine you're blowing out a candle, or you've got one of those little dipsticks that you blow through to make bubbles. That's another nice visualization. And you're trying to just make the biggest bubble that you can. So it's the longest exhale out that you can. And every time you breathe out, can you let a sense of melting your body, sense of letting tension just drift out of the body, almost letting it melt into the ground so you don't have to carry it round. Can you relax your eyes and your jaw and your shoulders and feel a little bit heavier down onto the mat? So this is the breathing that we practice for in between the contractions, so that we can drift off to sleep, we can recharge our energy levels, we can stay focused with the mind on a breath practice, and that's going to help keep us nice and calm. All good ingredients for keeping oxytocin high, which is key for helping labour progress. Good, one more sigh here. And then when you're ready, big inhale, we're going to come back into all fours, spreading the hands nice and wide, knees back underneath the hips, and we're going to move into the figure of 8 move. So inhaling, leading with the head, forwards, and then exhaling, leaning back into those knees and circling the bottom. Imagine you're writing the giantest number 8 on the floor. You're holding a pencil between your teeth. So the head's going to be leading the movement and the body's following. Now we're going to take that nice birth breathing again. Deep breath into the tummy. Big sigh out, as if we're steaming up our mirrors to give them a clean. Closing the eyes, really draw your focus inward. And maybe start to slow the movement down as you slow the breath down. Make it a little bit more subtle. Good. Now when we're in labour, we have these lovely contractions that are a bit like period cramps in the beginning. And then as that contraction progresses, about halfway through it starts to get a bit stronger and a bit more intense. And then it starts to fade away again and ends up a bit more like a period cramp. So it's nice to visualize that a bit like a mountain. So when we get to that intense bit, you've climbed up the whole of the mountain, you've got to get over the peak. And then once you're over the peak, it's almost like running down the other side of the mountain. So for the peak, in a moment, we're going to bring in some ooh sounds. So you can either go ooh, or you can just kind of hum like a The ooh is quite good because it keeps the jaw loose and it keeps the pelvic floor free. So we're going to pause our figure of 8. We're going to start to figure of 8 the opposite way. Just feel into that, get going. And then we're going to do 3 oohs. So taking a really big deep breath in. You're all in the privacy of your own home. No one can hear you. When you're ready, ooh. And notice as you ooh how there is softness in the pelvic floor. That means there's space for the babies to come down and out. Another ooh. Ooh. And then one more, ladies, in your own time. Make this the longest ooh that you can. Again, these lovely long sound works or long exhalations, it all helps to calm that heart rate down, helping us feel more grounded, more present, more calm, and just bringing our nervous system into the parasympathetic, where we can rest and we can really digest and process. It keeps us out of stress response. It keeps us out of flight or fright or freeze. So this is a key breath, a key sound for labour. Good. And then when you finish that last ooh and your last little figure of 8 wiggle, just come back either into your child's pose with the forehead down or with the head on the hands. Hands can be flat or hands can be fists. Or if that's not comfortable for you, just take a lovely kneeling position, one hand on the heart, one hand on the bump, and bow the head down. Start to blow out the candle breath, blowing out the bubbles. Let everything settle as you think and feel the word relax. Good. So a lovely little bit of birth preparation into this evening's class. And just know that when you've practiced this so many times, these moves, this breath, the state of mind that we're dropping into, that on the day when you need it, it's all going to be in there for you to draw upon. So just kind of press save mentally now on everything that we've been doing. Good. And then inhaling, we're going to come up into all fours just so that we can walk up through the body and come into a kneeling position. And then bring the arms up over the head and just exhale and slowly start to come all the way down onto the heels. So you might have had a knee click or pop, but we're just going to really work the legs here. So soft tummies, inhale, rolling up. Exhale, hands down through the center line. Slowly come down. So we really want to feel this in the thighs, make the thighs work. So press down into the shins, slowly rise up, tailbone under. Exhale, slowly drop down, pressing into the feet, pressing into the shins. We're going to do 2 more. Inhale, coming all the way up. Exhale, slowly down. And we've got nice strong thighs, that's going to help us support the pelvis and hopefully help get rid of things like our backaches. Good, so we've just strengthened that part of the thighs. We're now going to strengthen the glutes. So coming back into the all fours, we're going to take the right knee forwards and just little circles out and back. If you've got SPD, you're going to stay with little circles. If you haven't got SPD, so the achy pubic bone, you're going to take the leg much higher and do much bigger circles. And if your SPD is really, really sore today, and just bringing the leg off the floor is too much, you can bring the leg back down and just do some circles with the bottom. But hopefully you're okay to do these little circles here and just get a little bit of work or a big bit of work into those glutes. I'm going to take one more breath on this side. And then take that leg and bring it up so it's in a kind of 90-degree angle, and bring the toes down towards the floor. Press into your hands and have a sense of just ever so slightly rounding the back, just so you don't collapse your waist down towards the floor with the weight of your bum. And we're just going to pulse the foot and just really strengthen the bum here. So pulse, 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 as if you're trying to hold the ceiling up on the top of your foot. I'm going to do 3, 2, 1, and come down. So hopefully you're feeling that now in your bum and your glute. You're going to turn around. Well, you don't have to turn around. I'll turn around just to show you. On the other side, we're going to pick up the other knee, and we're going to do little circles here. And if that's okay for you and you haven't got a sore pubic bone, you can bring the knee forward, out and back. And just start to get right into those hips. Good. Right into the glutes. Keep the foot quite awake. So spread the toes, flex the toes towards the knee, and then breathe. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Good. Then we're going to bring the leg back into where its alignment would be. Just take it straight up towards the ceiling. So we're in a lovely 90 degree. Head down, head looking at the hands. Press into the hands so your back stays strong and flat. And then pulse, 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 pulse. You really feel this in the butt muscles. Keep breathing. At any point, if you need a break, just take it and join back in with what's comfortable for you. But if you're okay here, we'll do 3, 2, 1, and release. Good. Now we're going to tuck the toes under and just take our weight back into the heels for a moment and do some little movements with the wrist, maybe a little figure of 8 if you clasp them, that can feel quite nice. And then roll the shoulders here. Inhale, bring the hands up over the head. Exhale, take the arms down behind you, just open the chest. So I'm really balancing on my toes, and if that's too much for you, you can come down onto your feet, but we are looking for a little bit of work in the feet if you can manage it. Good. One more breath here. And then we're going to take the hands down behind our backs and interlace them and just go for a lovely little opening across the chest, lifting the arms up away from your body. Take a big breath into your tummy and a big breath out. Good, and then gently release. So another little shoulder roll. Now we're going to come up towards standing. So placing the hands down on the floor, walk the hands back and pick up the knees. Step your feet out so they're mat width apart. And then slowly we're going to inhale as we walk up the body. The last thing to come up is going to be the head. And then we're going to turn around and face the front. I'm just going to move this ever so slightly so I don't cut my top of my head off. Great, okay. So let's start with some pelvic work, because this has been giving a lot of you a bit of jip. So either having the feet directly underneath the hips, toes pointing forwards, or just taking the toes out a little bit if that's going to help you feel more stable. I'm going to bend the knees here and then just start with the tiniest circles with the tailbone. Teeny tiny, shoulders down and back. The spine is super long. The knees are a little bit bent. We're doing the tiniest little circles with the tip of the tailbone. Now if you've got this going, you can close your eyes and draw your focus inward. Imagine the tailbones drawing circles about the size of a 10p piece. Good, and then we're going to go the other way. Deep breath in, deep breath out. So perhaps noticing how your pelvic floor might be kind of switching on and switching off, or it might just be slightly on all the time as you bring this movement in. You might feel a little hug in the tummy muscles that go underneath the front of the tummy. Just a little engagement through the core. Nothing too strong, just like a hug for the baby. Good, well done. And then we're going to do this one, which is like a hip hitch. So where the front of your hips are, got the knees bent, I'm trying to hitch one hip up and then the other. So it's like my hips are doing a big smile from side to side. Again, notice your pelvic floor. Is there engagement? Are those muscles turning on and off? Just feel into what you're aware of. Maybe add a little bit of a squeeze. Good. I'm going to do a few more. Hopefully the thighs are beginning to feel a bit like they've been working too. And then the last one is more of a rock and roll. So we're going to keep the knees bent, send the tailbone back, and then scoop it forward. And then rock the tailbone back again and tuck it under. Good. So we're just feeling what kind of mobility we have just in the pelvis. And I want you to see if you can feel that you're not just rocking and rolling the whole body like this, that you're actually able to kind of like disassociate the pelvis and just move that on its own. The rest of the body's going to move a little bit, like the knees are going to bend. Maybe I can feel this up in my shoulders and my head, but really it's all happening in the pelvis. Maybe feeling the thighs get strong. We'll do two more and one. Well done. Okay, roll the shoulders here. And then bringing the feet back in so that they're hip distance apart. We're going to do some calf raises just to keep strengthening the legs to help support this structure in the pelvis. So you have the hands on the hips or the hands out if you need to balance, or you can put the hands on a chair or even onto the wall if you need some more balance. We're just going to gently lift up through the heels, lift them up as high as we can, and then slowly drop them to the ground. So from the side, inhaling, coming up, and whoops, try not to fall over. Exhale, come down. I'm going to hold on to the ceiling. Inhale, roll up. Exhale, roll down. Good, so we're just going to do a few more here. Just getting a little bit of strength into those calves. Good, and then we'll do a few with the toes out. So just feeling that mobility in a slightly different way. See, as you get to the end of the inhale, if you can just take a little pause and then drop the heels down. So you're just finding that bit of effort at the end of the movement where it's at its hardest. To concentrate a little bit here. Remember to breathe. And then we're going to turn the toes in, which is a little bit of a, might feel a bit uncomfortable if you're not used to doing this. The knees will come together a bit and then lift the heels again and then drop down. Well done. Good. So we'll just do a couple more here. Really good concentration, everybody. And then back to center. Well done. Now we're going to just take a little bit of weight into the hands whilst we do a calf stretch. So we wanted to do a bit of arm strengthening today. And after all that calf work, it would be nice to stretch out the legs. So we're going to start off, if you can find a little bit of wall space. If you haven't got wall space, you can actually just do this one back on the mat. And I'll show you a variation of that. But if you've got a little bit of wall space, we're going to start off a good stride away from the wall. And then hands are going to be at shoulder height. And you're just going to do like a little press up, really. So you're going to bring the head and the chest towards the wall. The elbows are going to be close to the waist. And then press yourself away. So we're going to exhale, come into the wall, maybe feel a little calf stretch. And then inhale, just press through the arms. We're going to keep the knees ever so slightly bent and then relax the tummy. So we just want to make this about the arms. So just feeling that little bit of strength. If you've chosen to come down onto the floor, you need to do this really, really gently. You're going to basically stay in all fours. Just bend the elbows down and in as you take the head forwards over the hands, just a few inches, and then you come back up. So we're hardly coming in at all. We're relaxing the tummy the whole time. So try not to brace in the tummy. Keep your back straight. If the back starts to collapse, you're probably going a bit too far. And we're just coming to a point where the shoulders and head are coming so much farther forward. We bend at the elbows, and it's almost like we're making a little right angle with the top of the arm and the lower part of the arm. Like it's a right angle in the elbows. So that's what you're looking for if you're there, but definitely keep the tummy relaxed. And if you're doing these over here by the door, then we're going to do a few more, but with 1 foot forward and 1 foot back. So the foot that's behind, just turn the toes out slightly, and the foot that's in front, have the toes pointing forward. I'm just going to bend the front knee, drop into our little very subtle press up, and just feel into the back calf. So press into that heel, so you get a lovely little calf stretch at the same time. You're going to do another sort of, say, 2 or 3 on one side, and then in your own time, you're going to do them on the other side. If you're on the floor, your variation would be to take the right foot back behind you, tuck the toes under and press into the calf, and then lean forward and take your little half press up, and then press back into the calf. So you get the calf stretch as well, and then the little tiny baby press up. So you're going to make sure you do that with the calf stretch on both sides. So just have another little play with that. Just see how you go for another minute or so here. Really try and find a bit of activation in the arms. Keep the tummy relaxed. We'll find a little bit of stretch in the calf. Those are the only 2 things we're looking for. Well done, everybody. And when you feel like you've done enough on both sides, that you've evened it out, we're going to come back to the mat. And we're going to just take snake dance for a minute. So feet, toes out, a little bit wider than hip distance. We're going to bend the knees. And then with the hands in prayer, we're going to just go for a lovely little zigzag with the hands. Inhaling all the way up to the ceiling. And then exhaling as you roll down towards the floor. So this time the hands are leading and the body's following. Inhale, big breath in. Exhale, big sigh out. And just make this feel really nice in every little bit of the body. I quite like it behind my shoulder blades. And feel really firmly planted into those feet. Good. As we come back up, we're just going to take a really big stretch up to the ceiling. So I've got quite a big ceiling here. So you are going to reach up, maybe interlace the hands and push the ceiling away, just so you get a really lovely stretch up tall. Just breathe in and breathe out there. And then you're going to bring the hands back down to prayer at the heart. Take an inhale, exhale, and from here, we're going to just bend the knees and start to tilt the tailbone up to the ceiling. And as you tilt the tailbone up to the ceiling, you're going to start to let the heart drop down towards the thighs. Resting the elbows on the thighs, point the hands to the floor, and then let the head drop to the floor, towards the floor. It won't actually touch the floor. So you're just coming into a lovely forward bend, up and over your bumps, weight into the toes, and just take a few big sighs here. Again, blowing out through that lovely little hole in the lips, as if you're blowing bubbles or blowing out a candle. And just take a moment for everything to slow down, everything to soften. Is there a little bit more you can relax? Maybe give the head a little tiny wiggle just to ease anything out of the neck. So it's really lovely to turn our worlds just ever so slightly or momentarily upside down. And with that coming, notice what might be arising, what might be coming up for us. Is there a resistance to this? Can you just breathe with it? Know that it's going to pass? Or is there a kind of surrender and a relaxation and an ease into it that you can find? It might be different every time you do this pose. So one more sigh here. And then finally, just bringing the hands onto the floor, walking them forwards, bringing both knees down at the same time, and then turning around back onto your bottoms. So we're going to place the pillow underneath our bottoms, and then coming back either into easy pose, or if you have the sore pubic bone, you can have one leg in, one leg out. Or an alternative for the final bit of sitting that you might want to do is just a kneeling pose. So you could just pop something under your bottom, the knees just a little bit wider. This is great if you do have SPD, just to be in kneeling and just be in whichever position you're really comfortable in. I'm going to just settle our weight down here into the pelvis, and just take your right hand and just cup underneath the belly, and then take your left hand down behind you. So maybe the fingertips might reach the floor and you can look over your shoulder. Or if that feels too far away, you can just place the hand on your lower back or on your hip, wherever you can reach, and then just look out over your shoulder. Start to settle your weight down into your sit bones. As you inhale, get a bit taller. And as you exhale, just relax into your twist, even looking out the corner of the eyes. And we really want the tummy to be nice and soft here. So make sure you're not pulling yourself into the twist. You're just breathing into it. So notice if the teeth are clenched, if you can relax them so they're slightly apart. Notice if you can soften around the eyes. Start to let go of layer of tension and feel just a little bit heavier into your base. And then as we come back to center, just rest the hand on the heart and bow the head down for a breath. Full breath in and out. And then swap your hands around. And then we're going to take the right hand and bring it down behind us, maybe fingertips just gently pressing onto the floor to help lift us up tall, or hand onto the lower back, bringing the elbow and the shoulder as far back behind you as you can. So soften the belly, relax the belly into the hand, big breath into the belly. And then as you exhale, relaxing, softening every muscle, feeling your weight pour down into your sit bones, and maybe noticing a little bit of length up through the spine, up through the crown of the head, as you gently find your twist, looking out the corner of your eyes, breathing in and out there to find a little bit of balance, a little bit of emotional equilibrium, and also a greater perspective. Just if there's anything coming up, if you've got decisions to make, just give you a little bit more of a perspective, a wider view on it all. And then gently coming back to center. I'm going to leave one hand on the tummy, one hand on the heart, and bow the head here for a few quiet breaths. Again, just relax your whole body. Check in with the babies. Send them a little smile. Or anything else you want to share with them today. Anything you're hoping for. Anything you'd rather avoid. Just have that little conversation with them. And then maybe just ask them today, is there anything that you need to know, anything that would be helpful for the journey you have ahead? And then just listen and notice if anything pops into your head or into your heart. And then finally we're going to curl up. So coming up, coming out and curling up. Lying down on your left side to move into Shavasana. Make sure you've got your music playing and that you're nice and warm. It's really hard to do Shavasana if there's a bit of a draft or we're going to get cold, which you might well do when you're lying here for a little while. So using the pillow, doubling it up so you've got really good support for your head. Maybe popping another pillow between the knees or under the waist. That can really help if you've got SPD or achy pelvises, just to have an extra rolled up pillow or blanket right in the crook of the waist. And then when you're on your side, just think about rolling that top hip just over another ½ an inch or two. Just so you're not so on the bones of the hips, but you'll feel more like you're resting on the thigh that's on the floor. And just ever so slightly more onto the tummy. And then we're just going to take a few big sighs here. So making that little hole in the lips once more. Blowing out as if you're blowing out a candle or blowing out those bubbles. Just focus on elongating that exhalation as long as you can make it. And start to think and feel the word relax. Let your whole body soften and melt down onto the floor. But it's really interesting to notice what kind of tension you might have been holding in your body. And we don't notice it. We're very good at holding stuff. So take the opportunity now to release, to let go, to soften. Because not only are we releasing physical tension from the body, but this also releases mental tension, emotional tension. Could be stuff we've been holding on to for years. So just start to be kind to yourselves. And can you let go of that tension just for this moment? Can you allow the head just to feel a little bit heavier on your pillow? And as you do that, can you really relax every muscle around your eyes? Maybe feeling the eyes settling back into the head. Relaxing the jaw so the teeth are apart, the throat is soft. And now just feeling a quiet rhythm of your breath gently coming and going in its natural state. Notice how you hardly move at all. And then scanning down through the arms, the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists, just feeling all of these body parts one at a time from the inside. Feeling the fingertips in the center of the palms. And on your next very quiet, tiny exhalation, let the head and the shoulders and the arms completely relax. And as you move down the torso, noticing the length of the spine, having a sense of what's behind you, the skin on your back. Can you notice that back part of your body that we often overlook just because we can't really see it? Can you feel into it? All the way down to the tip of the tailbone. And then notice the softness in the waist and the tummy. And really visualize your babies in the optimum position for birth. So head down behind the pubic bone. And their backs just kind of laying along the left side of your bump. And they're all curled up into your body. Almost mirroring your position, but upside down and completely lovely and contained in your tummy. And just enjoy their sense of company, their presence. Enjoy this moment in your pregnancy. Enjoy how amazing your bodies are. How amazing your baby is. All the self-assembly that they've done. Just take a bit of trust in how well your body and your baby work together. And then moving down into your hips, down into the thighs. Let the thighs feel heavy. Down into the knees. Down into the shins. Notice the length along the front of the shins. Down into the ankles. Down into the feet. And then down into the big toes. Then into the second toe. Then into the third toe. Then into the fourth toe. And then into the little toe. And then just kind of take stock of feeling your whole body completely resting upon the ground. Notice any sensations in and around your whole body. Maybe allowing your awareness to settle on the center of your forehead. So noticing the sensation of the skin. And as you keep your awareness focused on the center of your forehead, notice if the whole of your body feels as if it's just gently floating or melting into all the space all around you, that we're blending. So what we're feeling is beyond the edges of our physical body into the more subtle, blurry edges of our energetic, subtle body that expands out all around us in every direction. We're just feeling into that, enjoying the sensation. So we relax deeply to recharge. We relax deeply to allow every cell in our bodies to heal and to replicate and to do all of their jobs and functions as perfectly as they need to. As we rest completely to allow the deep recesses of our minds to process anything that needs to be processed, anything that needs to be filed and saved, so that we can really prepare for birth, for giving birth, and for becoming mothers. So having that sense of your whole body resting upon the ground, start to notice what you can hear all around you. Maybe in the room you're in, maybe elsewhere in the building, or even outside. Notice all the different layers of noise. And then take a big full inhale. And just feel the energetic nature of that inhalation. And as you breathe in again really fully, gently starting to bring ourselves back round, we're just going to wiggle the fingers and the toes. And remember that when we're in labour, if we get a bit tired, that full inhale can be really energizing when we need it most. So stretching and wiggling the fingers and the toes, and then taking another deep breath in. Opening your eyes, just looking around you without moving the body, just taking in everything you see, and then noticing how you feel right now whilst being awake. When we have that mindset that we've cultivated from our practice, whilst being awake. And we take this headspace into the rest of our evening and the rest of our week. And can we press save on how we feel right now? Just press save so that this feeling of yourself, you can come back to at any point. And then when you're ready to move, just have another lovely little stretch out if you need to with the arms or the legs, the fingers and the toes. And then roll into the hands so you can very carefully spiral yourselves back up to seated. Good, so when you get all the way back up to seated, we're just going to bring our hands into prayer position at the heart. Just take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. We're going to finish with one Om. So again, no one can hear anyone. It's an ah, oh, sound. It starts in the back of the throat, it ends in the lips, and the babies love to hear you sing. So we're going to finish with one lovely long Om. So taking that breath in now. And to each other we say Namaste. Namaste, everybody. I hope you're all feeling okay. I'm going to come and just, where are you? I'm just going to come and unmute you all. There we go. Lots of windows have suddenly opened all over my screen. Okay, cool. And let's close with one more Namaste where you can all hear each other. So all together, Namaste. Namaste. Thank you, everybody. Well done. Great practice.
Thanks, Claire.
My pleasure. Lovely to see you all. Have a beautiful week.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Bye. Bye.
Take care. Bye, ladies. Thanks for joining. Take care. Bye, guys. Okay, so I'm going to just end the meeting.